Hello and welcome to another episode of Live Love by Design TV. I'm Karen Chaston, the founder of Live Love by Design and the host and executive producer of this amazing TV show. And today we have another amazing episode for you. I have Julie Kay with us today, who is a spiritual profiler and a self-empowerment mentor. Sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Do you even know what a spiritual profiler is? Well, I can tell you right now, you will by the end of the show. So welcome, Julie.
Hi, Karen. Great to be here and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. So come on, spiritual profiler. What is that?
Okay, so a spiritual profiler helps people delve deep within to look at their emotional and spiritual profile. So basically the hidden patterns that we all have,
Yes.
And that get in the way of us being happy. So they are quite often hidden because that's what we're here to learn, and it's the emotional pattern that we carry throughout our lifetime. And so once we identify what that is, we can start to change how we perceive the world, because we're looking at our world through our own emotional filter. And that, that's different for everyone. And we see things differently through this emotional filter. So when we know what that is,
sorry. So is it a pattern that we have just developed in this lifetime, like from the time we were born, or can it be from previous lifetimes? And I know a lot of our viewers don't believe in past lives, but let's just go with it for now.
Okay, so I believe that it's mainly for this lifetime. We actually choose what we're here to learn. And so I believe mainly this lifetime, but we can also be repeating that from a previous lifetime as well.
So when we choose what we want to learn in this lifetime, could it be something that we didn't do very well in a previous lifetime? So we're like, okay, we've sort of got this down pat and we've got this down pat, but maybe this time we need to learn this because we've struggled with this previously.
Yes, and it's a lot deeper than that, Karen.
Okay.
It isn't just this lifetime, and this lifetime is not just connected to us. We have soul agreements with everyone in our lifetime, and we also are, part of a much bigger picture. So it's not just as simple as, you're coming here to learn this,
and
that's all there is to it. It is that you're coming here to evolve your self and have a massive growth in your learning, in your spiritual evolution. But in that, you will also help those around you, and you will also help the earth plane and the bigger picture evolve as well.
I love that, and I totally agree with all of that. And it's really good to actually understand that we do have soul agreements with a lot of people in our lives. And if they're annoying you or doing things that aren't in your highest interest, maybe it is so that you can grow.
Absolutely. We have relationships, or my belief is that we have relationships. We have this physical body and we have relationships in this lifetime purely to help each other grow. If someone's pushing your buttons, when you start looking at spiritual profiling and you start to understand and delve back into that button pushing, you'll see that there is actually something that you're meant to learn out of that. So it's not just as as easy as saying, see you later, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, because that will just repeat in the next person.
I totally agree. And it does a lot of the times. You can see people, dating the same person. Okay, physically they look different, but they're exactly the same. And it's like, and I'm a great believer, and it did take me a little while to actually understand this concept, is that everything is about yourself. So if people are pushing your buttons, it's about, let's go inside and let's figure out what I need to learn here, where I need to grow, and maybe what I need to heal.
That's right. Well, if a button is being pushed in us, it's saying there is something to change and grow, or there wouldn't be a button for anyone to push.
Yes, I like that. And
Karen, as we evolve, that button pushing, that we used to experience previously, when you evolve that within yourself, it's just like water off a duck's back. It no longer exists, or it exists to a lesser degree for sure.
I totally get that. And it's actually, just by the way you were saying pushing the button, I visualized like a crossroad, you know, to press the button to go, to get the green light to go. You've got the stop there. And it's about realizing what is stopping me, what is sort of coming up to me that's stopping me moving forward and stopping me getting over these things that are triggering me.
That's correct. And the emotional pattern will be the same. There is, you know, with our spiritual profile, we have this emotional pattern, emotional filter. So it will be the same, but it can definitely come up in different, you know, we can experience that in different ways. But just, it doesn't matter whether it's a relationship or whether it's you not being confident within yourself, that emotional pattern will still be the same. And so it's really, spiritual profiling helps you identify what is your pattern, how are you perceiving the world, what is getting in your way.
Okay, great. Now, because of the Live, Love 4 pillars that I love to go through when I'm discussing with people, which are all about you, all about your relationships, all about your expertise and all about your wealth creation, I want to come back to all about you. Now, I'm pretty sure that you were not born with this awareness. So I'm sure you gathered it as you sort of have come to who you are today. So tell us a little bit about young Julie. Let's go back to who you were as a child, just briefly.
Well, I was lucky enough to always, you know, have this spiritual knowing behind me. And I can remember arguing with my mother when I was it was before 10, and saying, you know, where was I before I was here? And she couldn't give me the answers. And just like we tell most of our children to run away and play.
Yes.
But I actually wasn't a very confident person. I totally had, you know, to be in front of people would never have been something that I would have thought that I would have been able to do. I suffered a lot from anxiety and, you know, and also socially, like I would hide myself away socially as well.
Oh, really?
So, yes. And I also experienced, like I was actually abused as a younger person as well. So I did experience sexual abuse. Thankfully, mine wasn't as bad as what a lot of people go through.
Yes. But any sort is very traumatic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I had to also to heal myself from that. So, yeah, I definitely, like a lot of people, struggled in my younger days with my confidence and self-belief.
Did you struggle with your spiritual awareness that you had discussing it with other people?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And my parents thought that, you know, it was just my imagination, and not because they were trying to put me down, but mainly because of a lack of understanding.
Yes.
It wasn't in our family. It wasn't, you know, our belief. My parents were Catholic, so it wasn't in our belief system. So, of course, it was just put to the side as my imagination. And, you know, that even set up a bit of my emotional profile, as in, you know, getting people to believe and understand me for who I am.
So when did you start to develop it more and then start to be open about discussing this and obviously creating a business around it?
Yep. So I started back when my children were little. My son, it was actually just before he was born. He's now 27. So I was always sort of, you know, in the background, doing little courses and going to little meditation groups and stuff. And then I just, you know, about 27, I decided, no, this is who I am. I'm going to start this journey.
That's really interesting at 27, because
yes,
if you're aware of I can't even think about, that's when Saturn returns.
Yes, somewhere between 28 and 30, I believe that is. Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at spiritual profiling, we're not actually ready or really ready to look at our stuff before then. So, you know, we are coming through with a lot of old souls now and a lot of higher vibrations. So there are, of course, the exceptions, but the majority, and definitely our generation, we weren't even really ready to look at our stuff before the age of 30 or somewhere before the age of 30.
Thank you for putting me in the same generation you. I'm probably the one before.
Oh, well, yeah, you look good for your age.
Thank you, but I am a baby boomer. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Tick for Julie, everybody.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So yeah, and I love the fact that when we are aware of the fact that before 28, or from 28 to 30, we really are growing and learning. We're really not adults, as in ready to move to the next phase of our life.
Well, before that age, we're actually really experiencing this emotional pattern.
Yes.
So we're really in reaction to this emotional pattern. So
Yes.
from 0 to 9, it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 9 years old to sort of roughly around 27, which is our third cycle,
Yes.
We're really experiencing what does that mean. So we're trying to find ourselves.
Yes.
So when we get to that age, we're then ready to go, well, hang on a minute, everything that I've learned and been programmed into and been reacting to may not be who I am.
Yes.
So then we spend the rest of our life unlearning that and getting back to who we truly are. And
unfortunately, some people never unlearn those early habits.
No, and we've got to look at the older generations for that, back in their days, and we've got to have a bit of compassion and empathy for them. Back in the days, it's very controlled, and it was very, you are like this, you just repeat the family pattern.
Yes.
And which gets handed down, and there wasn't a lot of counselling. This work was definitely not out in the open for us to, there just wasn't the opportunity for the older generations to connect to who they really are. So the young ones, a lot easier.
And to
question
their beliefs.
I didn't catch you then, sorry.
And for them to question their beliefs.
That's right, exactly. Like, it was more about survival.
Mm.
Whereas these days, we can do everything by video. There's a lot more support, and there's a lot more understanding, and a lot more connectedness as well.
Yeah. Yes, and I totally agree. And I must admit, even though I was like in my Groundhog Day days, as I like to call it, when I was a corporate CFO, I always had this little spiritual side to me that always was going, surely there must be an easier way. Surely there must be a better way. Surely there must, why is it such a struggle for everyone? Why is everyone in survival? Why can't we thrive easily, sort of thing?
Well, I describe it, and I describe this in my book, The Lessons of Love and Life, that there are two really distinct sides to self. Mm-hmm. So we have our physical self, which is what we're here just to experience in this lifetime. And then, of course, we have our spirit self. And the spirit's always going to be delegated to the background because the physical self is forefront. It's who we are. But in that physical self, we've got an ego.
Yes.
And that is the part that we, through the intellectual mind, the overthinking and all of that keeps us stuck in these patterns.
Yes.
But we are now learning to bring these two sides together. Now, we're certainly not meant to be one side than the other. We're meant to be bringing them together. So once you can sort of use them and understand them for how they actually work within you, you're going to be more able to connect to that inner self and have that, that internal direction that is always there. It's always there, Karen. It's always like a little voice that sits in the background that
yes.
just people don't realise because this other side of self is a little bit too strong and is drowning it out.
Yes. So it's a little bit like Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio, always sitting on your shoulder, sort of being there and guiding you. And I love the fact that you said that it's about us bringing two of them together, as opposed to a lot of people go, oh, you have to shut down the ego. You have to shut down the ego to self-actualize. But that's not right.
No, good luck to those who can ever free themselves of their ego. I certainly haven't found that in any of my clients or myself yet. We certainly can tame the ego and understand it.
Yes.
But it's a program. It's a program that you've had from birth. We don't come into the earth plane with an ego. Where it's learnt. Your ego is what you've learnt from them. You look at little children, they're totally connected to their spirits.
Yes.
But it is from the moment that they get here, we start to learn. Yes. And that's what the ego is all about. And that's what the lessons are all about. We develop this ego through what we experience and learn and are programmed into through our parents, our society, our culture.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't believe that we can ever get rid of our ego, but we can certainly learn to love it, understand it, and not be reactive to it.
Yes.
So drive our life more from the internal.
Yes. And I love that. And it really is about understanding how to be humble and bringing humility and gratitude into your life. And that seems to quieten the ego a fair bit, because you can't be in your ego and humble at the same time. Can you?
Not really. No, I don't believe so. Like when you actually let go of the need to judge,
yes,
and the need to,
self-promote.
Yeah, absolutely. When you let go of that, it's so peaceful. You don't have that. It just brings, that is exactly what brings the inner peace to you, because you're not trying to fight the outside world. You're actually quite comfortable and confident from within.
I love that. And that's like when I was in my CFO role, seriously, I was always angry and always forcing my opinion on people. And it's absolutely ridiculous, because there's an infinite number of ways to do anything and to look at anything, and it's just about a matter of allowing people to be who they are.
Absolutely. We all have different spiritual profiles. We all have different ways, which is the exact way that we're going to perceive the world. So in the way I teach is there's no point in judging and criticising another, because they've not been brought up your way, they've not had your emotional experiences, and therefore they can't see it your way. And actually, when you really get down into the nitty-gritty of this, Karen, when you point the finger at someone else, there's three pointing back at you.
I love that analogy. And it's not an analogy. I love that fact, that awareness.
Yeah. And so when we're criticising someone else, there's a part of us we're criticising as well.
Yes.
So, you know, in spiritual profiling, we get you to look at that.
And that's not initially that's not an easy concept to understand. Like if there is someone who really does annoy you and their traits are just like so against who you are, so against who you feel your values are and everything, it is an interesting concept to go, now, wait a minute, all of those traits are inside me. They may be in my shadow side, or they may be things that I've been in earlier lives and earlier in my life, and I have changed them. But the fact that they are still annoying you, you haven't really healed it.
That's absolutely correct. And in my book, I use one that will push people's buttons in itself. It's I use the example of a pedophile. You know, most people have the judgment that they are disgusting human beings who take advantage of children. Yes. So then I look at different ways of why that, because for some people, they can look at a pedophile and not have an emotional reaction. But say for someone who has a really intense emotional reaction towards one, you would, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a pedophile for sure. That's not where I'm going here. It means that there is something within them that is reflecting, that pedophile is reflecting at them. So what could that be? It could be just that they're letting themselves down and letting themselves be taken advantage of. So therefore that energy will reflect that in them. So it's not necessarily about the other person.
Yes.
It's about the emotional reflection that comes up from that is pushing our buttons.
Yes. Okay. And that is an example that would push most people's buttons.
Absolutely. And I do explain it a lot better than that in my book.
I'm sure you did. No, because I understand exactly what you were saying then.
And that is not accepting bad. I just want to just to iterate on that. That is that we are not here to accept bad behaviour. So I'm in no way saying that is right or wrong. I'm just saying that, because bad behaviour is bad behaviour, it still needs to be dealt with. I'm just looking purely at the reflection within ourselves that can create an over-the-top emotional reaction.
Yes, and I totally understand that. And So my next thing is, and on the page is all your contact details and everything. But more importantly, you've given us a great personal profile of you as at a younger age and all the different roles that you can have played from an expertise point of view. And I love the fact I can so see you as an aerobic instructor.
Yes, I did that.
Yeah, I can so see you as that and all of that. But more importantly, I want to talk about the whale watching experience that you had. And not only from a physical point of view, but also from a spiritual point of view. How did that affect you and help to create who you are today?
That was probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. Other than this one, of course.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Going out on the whale watching boat and, getting to see the whales and that mostly, sometimes we didn't see it. And this was when I was in Coffs Harbour. And I do believe the whale watching boat is still going. It was called the Pacific Explorer.
Okay.
But it actually helped me, Karen, in those days. That was actually what helped me start to reconnect to people as well, because I had to talk to people. I had to tell them,
Yes.
and really start to build my confidence in, being, having an expert opinion about whales.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So it really did help me grow and build my confidence. But as spiritually, it was just one of the best. Who cannot balance when they're out on a boat? I love boats. Like even today, any chance I can get out on a boat, I'll be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywhere around water, I agree. But did you talk to the whales?
I did. You don't really get a chance because I was being a hostess.
Okay.
But we did have one opportunity that jumps out at me. Was what I wanted to do was to swim with the whales.
Oh my God! I didn't even know you could swim with the whales.
Well, you can't if you're swimming around the boat and they come up to you. Okay. That's okay. I just didn't. In all my time, there was one chance that I had to get in the water. And because the whales were actually interacting with the boat, I don't think it was something you were really allowed to do, but that was one of the things I wanted to do. Yeah. So I was about to jump in the water, and the skipper said, "Oh, I don't think you better because there is the fisheries boat is coming towards us, so you're just not allowed to." And I was really disappointed because I got my camera though, and I had an underwater camera, so I got a few shots of the whales underwater. But I didn't get to swim with them, and I thought that would have been that would have been the icing on the cake.
Oh, I can totally imagine that because everyone just loves anything to do with whales or dolphins, and they especially dolphins, they seem to just be full of like oxytocin, which is your feel good hormone, your bonding hormone, and they're just amazing creatures, aren't they? And we're so grateful to have them on our earth.
Absolutely. And I've just completed one of my bucket list was a dive course. So I've got my PADI license now. So I'm hoping to do a lot more in my free time, getting out and doing a lot more in the ocean because I just love it.
Oh, wow. And of course, we're fast running out of time as always. I always go over, but it's such delicious conversations. So what is the main thing that you want our viewers to take away from this conversation?
That everyone here, Karen, is on a path to self-discovery. And that's what I believe that we're here for. And your happiness, it's not going to be found outside of you or through others. It will be found from you going within, understanding who you are and awakening to your spirit. And that's, and with everyone that I've helped and my own life, that's where we find our inner peace and our happiness.
I totally agree. And that's why I just love talking to you, because obviously you are all about you, which is our first pillar. But through that, you have created, by following your true you have created your business, doing your passion. You are creating obviously your wealth through doing it. And you're forming these amazing relationships with not only all of your clients, but also as you're traveling around Australia, sharing this message, you're also building new relationships with people who you may never have interacted with if you had not decided on this path.
Absolutely. And just for your viewers too, I am actually traveling around on my Become More Happy and Internally Guided tour. And it's been amazing. It really, really has. And just even, you know, whether I'm working with my clients or just parked on in a camp somewhere and the people around, you're always meeting inspiring and beautiful people. And you know, Karen, there are just some truly amazing people doing some amazing things, and we don't even know about it.
Yes.
It's just your average everyday local heroes. I'm meeting them more and more, and they inspire me for what they do in their communities.
Maybe that should be a show that you start, even if it's just a 5-minute.
Well, I have actually done a few. I've interviewed a few, and I've put them on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and I hope to definitely do more than that. It's just a time thing at the moment, but I have actually got a few interviews on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's
local heroes, because they are amazing.
Yeah. So as we said, all of your contact details are below, and I believe you have a free gift for our viewers, which they can also access below this video. So what's that, Julie?
So that's a little ebook, and it's an introduction to how this all works. So an introduction to the lessons of love and life. And if you read that and you love that, you will love what I do. So it helps you connect and understand how that bigger picture works. That's what the ebook's all about.
I'm sure they will love it, and I'm sure they will connect with you for more details. But more importantly, it really is about you connecting to who you are so that you can live and love your life, because without that connection, you're not really going to experience this lifetime to the best of your ability, because you will be stuck in the ego and you will be stuck in survival. And let's face it, aren't we all here to thrive?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And we'll be stuck in repeating those same issues over and over again. And that's what ends when you start to connect to yourself, because you start to drive your own life, your own happiness and your own destiny.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Julie, for being, as I said, the most amazing guest. I love the fact that you're a spiritual profiler. I love the way that you have that actual word spiritual in what you do, because a lot of people think it's woo-woo, but do you know what? It's only because they haven't connected to who they are.
That's very true. And thank you so much for having me, Karen. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect with you as well.
I know, we could talk forever.
I know. We could, couldn't we?
Anyway, thanks a lot, and thank you everybody for another episode of Live Love by Design. I'll see you on another episode real soon. And that has been another episode of Live Love by Design TV. Wasn't Julie just the most amazing guest? I love the fact when I have guests who can help us in any area that comes under the All About You pillar. Because once you do understand who you are, you truly can create a life where you live and love each and every day, where you love who you are, you love your life, and you create your dreams faster. So thanks for being here again, and I look forward to sharing with you very soon another episode of Live Love by Design TV. Be well unto then, and make sure you spend some time looking after the most important friend in your life, you. Bye.